So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nikhil. I am the CTIO of 6D Technologies. The first time we've been here, we were truly humbled by the event and the kind of footfall we see in the event. So I'll go very slow. I'll try to explain what we do as a digital transformation journey. We've been doing this with many of the leading telcos, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 telcos across the world. In this short time, I'll try to cover some of the main areas. And if you have any questions beyond that, I'll be here. You can always come and clarify with me. I'll be happy to help you to explain what we did in more details. Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to learn this, how it is working. Yeah. So we've been founded in 2002. It's a Indian-based company, completely global today. We have 10 offices across the globe. I won't run into the details where we have offices. We primarily do the digital transformation where we align with industry standards. And that's where you see TMF ODA alignment. It's more of a community of telecos and vendors who come with the standards so that we define how the teleco transformation can be. We are a team of 1,600 plus people across the globe. We have presence in 80 plus country, 150 plus customers with us, which are on B2B teleco customers, B2C teleco customers, and also the enterprises, which is 300 plus. Because it's the first time I'm just going into the details of what we do. And we are also like participating with many of the forums. And if you see in the below, we are a very active participant with GSMA and TM Forum. We also participate with IoT communities, and we are also an ISO certified company. Now, coming back to the topic which we had, how do we modernize the teleco? Like, how do we make a teleco to move from a legacy vision to a digital vision? Because this is what we've been seeing across the markets, and this is being the need of all the telecos, because everybody wants to change the way they do the business. So if you see on to the left-hand side, you can see all the telecos across the world today. They are moving into new technologies, like we hear about 5G, we hear about private 5Gs, edge connectivities. We also hear about hyperscalers getting deployed, because everybody wants to move their solutions from on-prem to hyperscalers. We also hear about fixed line, fiber to home customers, ISP customers. They all want to evolve. They all want to move from a customer subscriber view to an enterprise view. So there is a lot of changes happening in this side. You can see on the left-hand side. And you can also see on to the right-hand side, there is a lot of industrial segments, like Industry 4.0 segments, like you can see like transport, energy, public sectors, automotives, finance. Many verticals also trying to become a partner with teleco, and they can offer their services to the end consumer. So you see the entire model is being changing. It's no more telecos when we talked 2 years or 3 years before. They were primarily focused on people like us, on consumers. But today they are changing. So we talk about a teleco being transformed to a B2C segment, a B2B segment, and a B2B2X segment. So that's where we come into play, where we help telecos to achieve this journey. So we move them, we go them, we participate with them, we help them in the journey where they move from legacy, and we make them completely digital, so that all your end customers, including enterprises, consumers, B2B, They all get a digital flavor. And everything is on digital and through first touch in mobile. So we always believe mobile first. So that's where we come in. And this is the vision which we carry with our telecos. In future, we would also like to be partnering with many telecos and the great people who are here so that we can also help you in the same transformation. Now, when I talk about a digital transformation, what should be the foundation blocks? I'll just go into what we do with other customers and teleco companies in other parts of the world. So you can see on the bottom side, whatever you see on the bottom side, as any platform company or a product company, you should be able to provide a very strong technology which can scale. Because today we talk about new lines of customers and enterprises coming into the system. So we need to have everything as digital platforms, cloud native platforms. Everything has to be on a microservice which can work on any hyperscalers or on any on-prem clouds. And also it should be a low code so that operator or a teleco company is able to run the platform. So everything has to be scaling with technology. The next thing is everything has to be digital, because previously there were days where we used to go, now when we go into some of the markets where we have done, if I have to get a SIM connection, I used to go to a shop and I used to buy the SIM from there. Or maybe I go in the airport, I will have an outlet. Today what we have done, we have made everything digital. Like you have an app, it's like a self-care app. You order the SIM and the SIM is delivered at your home. So that's the way we do everything as digital. Like everything is engaged, even through many channels, like social media channels, engagement channels. So everything is made digital. The entire process of the teleco company is also orchestrated and changed to automate more. Everything is catalog driven. Entire asset view is available. And everything which is related to from the sales and distribution, because when we talk about transformation of the company, the sales channel is also important. So you need to focus on how do you do the sales transformation, and also how do you invest on the data which gets generated. And that's where AI and analytics comes into play. So as a company, we are able to work with our teleco partners and we were able to provide this. And finally, if you see all the channels, because end of the day, because just before me there was a discussion about how an IPTV based solution can sell, right? So all the channels which are digital, we enable them to become more digital. We bring all these capabilities and we enable the telecom company to become completely digital. And finally, at the end, you give a 360-degree view and a digital experience to your end customers. So that's where we focus, and that's how we see the journey of modernizing a teleco from legacy to digital happens. Now, these are some of the key references which I don't want to sell us here, but these are some of the journeys which we had where we have helped these telecom companies to move from their legacy platforms into a digital platform. So there are some major groups. You can see some names on the top like Singtel, Telecomcell, Globe, Indosat. So these are all B2C, B2B, and B2B2C kind of telecom companies, which has transformed with this journey. And everything has become digital there. Then there are also direct telecom customers who also had a legacy platform. They have moved from legacy today into completely digital. The scale of these deployments are from the scale of 1 million to kind of 50 million kind of subscriber base. So that's what we talk about. So there again, we have some big names here, which is like Safaricom, Vodafone's in the market, Vodacom. We also do some mission critical, which is like private 5G networks. There also we enable the digital transformation. So some customers which are there, ISP services, and also some smart city deployments. So smart city is like 1 year before we had the World Cup, which happened in Qatar. So one of the initiative by the Qatar government was to enable the smart city and the foundation for the World Cup, Football World Cup to happen. So we were also part of that journey with other vendors where we have enabled many of the services like smart parking, smart tracking, logistics, many features which were required, especially from a World Cup. So these are also some of the key deployments where we have. I can share more details onto this, but keeping the time in consideration, I will just have a high level view. So now very quickly, some of the success stories, what we had. So one of the examples was, this is one of the operator which is in Africa. So it is part of Vodafone group and it is called as Vodacom Tanzania. They had three type of business. One is the typical GSM, which is the mobility business. Then there was a fixed line business, and then there was a broadband business. So all these were handled by three different companies. They wanted to converge everything into one platform. It's a 16 million customer base which is there. They had a lot of legacy platforms, lot of operation challenges which were there. We were part of the complete transformation journey where we have moved everything from legacy deployment to a on-prem cloud native architecture, which has helped them to consolidate their business, because it's not just about how do you enable technology, it's also about how do you make your telecom company more efficient. So this is one of the case studies which we have. The second case study, again, this was something which was like, it was an operator which was launched 1 year before in Ethiopia. It's called Safaricom, again part of the Vodafone group. So they had logistics and challenges across many things, right from setting up the infra to the antennas and even the network. So we had to have a technology and a deployment which will help them to scale as they grow. And they are working on all these lines of business, as you see, prepaid, postpaid, fixed line, and the enterprise services. It is a full transformation which was required, where they needed this entire capability. It's a greenfield which went. So we have grown in last 1 year, 10 million customer base in Safaricom Ethiopia. And it was over a year because it was the second operator in the country and where they had to scale. And again, the scale was, there was a lot of challenges, as I said, because setting up the infrastructure, data centers, technologies, this was a challenge in this particular case. So this is what we talk about. So why I'm sharing all these? These are all the journeys which help them with the help of technology, with the help of processes, with the help of industry alignments, we were able to scale and achieve this. The last case study which I have is Vodafone Idea, because we also come from India. So it is again part of Vodafone Group. What they do, they take care of IoT business. So this was primarily for the IoT segment which they have. And we are talking about a 15 million customer base of IoT customers, which was again enterprises. And they were primarily targeting the smart metering, the smart electricity, the fleet management, the logistics, the energy and industries. So this was again happening on two platforms. So Vodafone had two platforms which was doing this before. One was to enable the connectivity for these enterprises, and the second was to enable the business BSS part of that. So what we did, we went there, we transformed, we converged that into a single solution, so that end-to-end, right from onboarding to the bill presentment of an enterprise customer, has become digital. So this is where we again worked on. Again, these are some case studies which we wanted to share, which will also help to have a view how these cases are achieved in other market segments. A very high level, any questions you can interrupt me, or maybe in the last. So as any vendor, when we go with any telecom company to work, we always go with a digital strategy roadmap. Like, how do you want to see the telecom company after 3 years? So we focus on these areas. It's not just the products what we talk about. We focus on the circle what you see here. So right from the beginning, we focus on how the telecom company can have a technology excellence, which means you bring the right partner and the right product there. How do you make the entire experience of your B2C or your B2B segment as complete digital? So again, the focus from our side, along with the telco company, is being on to make it completely digital. It will help the telecom company to make an excellence in the operation, because that's where every telecom company which we partner today had been spending their money. So we help them to achieve operational excellence. The platform which you deploy has to be secure. It has to be also, efficiency has to be there on the engineering side, because when you want to scale this to bigger size, like you want to go from 5 million to 10 million customer base or 15 million, you should have engineering efficiency. Industry standards, we are there next week in TM Forum event, which is happening in Denmark. So if any of you are there, please visit us in our booth. So we are also there, where we talk about some of this industry alignment, what we do with TM Forum community. Data intelligence, I'm sure many would have covered this, but as we grow, as 5G grows, as new private 5G grows, data intelligence and the data analytics also plays a very important factor. Finally, the human factor and the privacy part, because human factor also needs, how do you empower your people and how do you enable privacy on the data which you generate. So we call it as a digital strategy 2025. So very quickly, on the technology excellence, we believe in giving a platform which is multi-tenant, cloud ready, can be deployed on a hyperscale. It has to be localized. If any deployments which we do in any country, which has to be a localized deployment, and it should be reusable. So we focus on these areas. And as I said, everything is API driven. We make it open digital architecture, which is the new growth and the focus of all the telecom companies in the market. And we also make it as digital orchestration. The next thing, as I said in the circle, we had operational excellence. We focus on these areas. We help the operator to move from the legacy model of working strategy to a DevOps model. We help them with DevOps planning. We help them with the technologies and the toolkits which are helping them to achieve that. So you don't see like a transformation project of 3 years. We reduce that to a 1 year or a 6 months timeline. So you see there is movement happening in the teleco. And finally, also enable them with the multiple CI, CDs, Kanban kind of deployments and the project governance. So operational excellence, one of the key pain points of an operator, where we help them to improvise. Data intelligence, our platforms also help the telecom company to get the data. So we focus on enabling them with big data. We help them with machine learning. So some of the deployments which we had, like I was sharing a case study of Safaricom Ethiopia. There, one of the challenge was with the network. So network analytics also was a very important part, where we empowered Safaricom Ethiopia with this data, because they were not ready to invest a lot onto the network, because you invest network and you don't see a customer growth, it's a loss to the opco. So we help them with machine learnings there. Customer engagement for enabling digital channels. Then we also have models and give the data visibility. So that's how we work on the intelligence with human factor. Finally, the most important part is about how do you make sure the digital strategy which you implement with the teleco, the products which you bring, has to be completely secure, and privacy has to play a very key role. So we put a lot of focus on security and privacy. We make sure data securities are enabled. If the deployment is on cloud, we enable them with cloud security, infra security, platform security, GDPR regulations, which are again specific to the countries and the standards. And you can see that finally we help the opcos to move from an on-prem to a cloudification model. So that's how we entirely structure a modernizing view of a legacy teleco. So very quickly, I know I tried to cover a lot of things in a very short time. I will be happy to take any questions, maybe post this if you have any specific clarifications which you need. But if any questions on anything which I have explained, I'm happy to take that.
Ребята, есть ли у кого-нибудь какие-нибудь вопросы спикеру? Нет. So, okay, maybe it will be my question. Regarding to your vision on the telecom industry, excuse me, and regarding to your experience from your company, what do you think about machine learning? In what cases of the telecom industry it will be next game changer or so on?
So when I talk about machine learning, it's not just limited to one area. One of the key things what we see with when we go with the transformation today, we focus more on the customer engagement and the revenue upsell today. So this is one of the focus area for us today. And we also when we go with transformation, as I was talking about legacy telecos moving to 5G, a lot of investment by these telecos are done on the 3G deployments, 3G, 4G handsets, and these 3G sites. So one of the areas where we worked was to make sure whether we really need a 3G site, because maintenance and the operations of that was really costly. So we enabled some network analytics there. We enabled customer engagement, and we also enabled them on the upsell and the revenues. So these are the areas where we work primarily on machine learning. But very interesting question. It's something which all of us are trying to improvise, but that's how we do.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
So thank you for Nihil Pol, and applaudissements for him. Thank you.